Miranda Lightstone. Welcome to another episode of the Suburban Driving with Miranda. As you can see, we've gone camping once again, but this time we took a 2020 Toyota RAV4 Trail TRD. We survived rain, we survived acorns falling from the trees, and the TRD did about as much off-roading as it's likely to do in the hands of most people, so let's check it out. When it comes to the exterior look of the 2020 Toyota RAV4 Trail TRD Offroad, you get all those nice little bits and pieces that the TRD department of Toyota offers, like the 18-inch rims, the roof rails, the blacked out RAV4 and TRD badging, and you also get a nifty little feature that you can change the color of your roof if you'd like. Now, this isn't offered with every single color in the RAV4 lineup. However, the colors that they do offer look really great, and honestly it changes the look of the RAV4 and just makes it that much more manly and masculine, and I really like the design elements on the TRD, as subtle as they are. We survived our camping weekend. It did nothing but rain in a torrential amount all day on Saturday. So we sat under tarps and stayed as dry as we could, but we survived. And the most important thing is that we fit everything for 3 days of camping with the child in the Toyota RAV4 Trail TRD. And honestly, I was a little bit apprehensive at first. You know, we have 2 tents. We've got the big one, my son has his own tent. We have a big cooler full of food. We have all the blankets and the pillows because obviously it's cold here now at night, even though, you know, it's still August. Plus we had firewood and any extras, boots, chairs for the 3 of us. Anyways, it's a lot of gear. And if I think about the last time I went camping with the 4Runner, there was only 2 of us. We didn't bring the kid that time. And that was really well packed and quite full. So I was a little shocked, but I gotta say, we fit everything in here. It was super efficient. My son had room in the back still. He didn't have to really have too much under his feet. And one of the coolest things about this particular version of the RAV4, I find, especially for camping, is that the rubber mat from the trunk stretches onto the back seat. So when you fold it down, that rubber continues on. So you don't ruin the fabric on the back of the seat. I always wondered that. I mean, anytime you put the back seat down in a sedan or whatever, it's fabric, right? And if you're sliding stuff along there, if you've got wood or you have camping gear and stuff, you're on fabric. So you would have to put down a tarp. In this case, you don't have to. So in terms of the drive, we went camping relatively close to home. So it was about a 30-minute drive, and 15 minutes of that was on a ferry. So wasn't really driving on the water. But what I can tell you is that this is a fairly pleasant vehicle to drive. It's not my favorite, and I got a lot of back and forth on the internet when I said that I quite liked the look of this vehicle, but I wasn't sold on the drive. And that kind of put a few people up in arms saying that, oh my god, it's a RAV4 and it's the best in its segment, and how can you not like it? But hear me out. It's loud. I find the engine very loud for the type of vehicle that it is. There's a lot of road noise. That could be the wheel wells, could be the larger 18-inch rubber wheels. It could be a lot of things. I also don't necessarily like the 8-speed transmission. I find it lazy. When you're trying to accelerate on the highway, I think it feels confused at times. It doesn't know which gear to downshift to or get to in order to give you the speed that you want. I can put it in sport mode down here and shift my own gears. It's still not going to help you. There's still a delay. I think it feels very heavy. In fact, I feel it's almost as heavy as the 4Runner, even though this is a smaller vehicle and a smaller engine. It's a 2.5 4-cylinder. That being said, it is very fuel efficient. So I'm not careful. I've been doing a lot of back and forth from my parents' place in the country to our place, plus the camping, plus whatever errands I've had to run because suddenly life is back to normal and there's a million things that I need to do. And I'm still averaging 8.4 liters per 100 kilometers, which is really good for a vehicle that is all-wheel drive of this size, 18-inch wheels, heavy. So I am impressed. And honestly, I was almost at empty, and I went to fill it up today, and I put 40 bucks in, and I had less than a quarter left to fill it up with. So I could fill this vehicle with 50 to 60 bucks. And that's not bad at all. Not at all. Again, for the type of vehicle that it is. In terms of it being the TRD, so TRD Offroad, the TRD stands for Toyota Racing Department. This is not a racing RAV4, it's TRD Offroad. So it's like their aftermarket accessories, kind of like Mopar, but for Toyota. So what that gives you in this vehicle is the suspension mostly. So the TRD Offroad gives the RAV4 Trail its off-road suspension. So you need to start with the trail version, first of all. You can't get the TRD Offroad on just any RAV4. You need to start with a trail. So in terms of the TRD Offroad package on this vehicle for driving purposes, really it just changes up the suspension. Sure, you get the 18-inch wheels, you get some aesthetic changes, you get the blacked out badges like I spoke about with the exterior. What it really gives you is that off-road suspension. Now, in terms of actually experiencing that off-road suspension, I did not do a whole lot of off-roading. I was in campground roads, on gravel dirt roads, and it felt good, it felt solid. Driving it on normal roads, it can feel a little bit stiff, especially for our roads in Quebec. We don't have the smoothest ones. I am currently in Ontario and I am smooth sailing right now, but I can guarantee as soon as I hit the Quebec border, it's going to loosen up quite a bit. So for the off-road version, I do have a little terrain selector down here, so I can go from mud and sand to rocks. I have a snow button, I have a hill descent control. I also have eco, normal, and sport mode for my throttle response and transmission. The eco mode is a lot like driving through tar, as is in most cases with an eco mode. Normal, and then sport really tightens up the throttle and makes it that much peppier. I like putting it in sport after I discovered how lazy I felt it was on the highway. I put it in sport mode. That helps it perform a lot better and change gears more efficiently and feel more like a lively transmission. In terms of the steering, in terms of the handling, I really like it. What I want to experience is the hybrid version of the RAV4. I have heard a lot of very good things about it, and it has been a few years since I've driven a RAV4. I'm happy this was the first one. The beeping that you heard was my lane keep assist. I went over the white line as I was turning my corner. It has all those bells and whistles too. It has blind spot monitoring, it has lane keep assist, which will actually drag you back into the lane. I don't particularly like that. It is a bit jarring if you don't know that it's there. It will gently guide you, it'll beep, and then it'll bring you over. Unless you use your signal, in which case it'll let you cross the lane. Has a really good backup camera, has all the things that you would hope to have in a vehicle that's in the mid to high $40,000 price range, which could seem like a lot for a vehicle this size. However, it's really functional, and for a Toyota RAV4, you know, it has longevity, they're built well, it drives well, maintenance isn't going to cost you much, so it's a decent price for it. So I probably should have talked about the interior of the Toyota before it got all dirty from camping, but at least now you guys will see that we took it in earnest and we did actually go camping with it, and I promised to clean it before I gave it back. Anyways, inside the Toyota RAV4 Trail TRD Offroad, there is no mistaking that you are in the TRD Offroad. It is on the headrest, it is on the mats on the ground. You've got the red accents everywhere, you've got the red stitching on the seats, on the dash. Everywhere you know you're in a special model RAV4. That aside, I really like the interior. It's well laid out. It is aesthetically pleasing. My favorite bits and pieces, and this little detail first came about in the Highlander, I think, the redesign in like 2014, 2015. It's these really nifty little shelves that are here on the dash, and you can slide your cell phone in there, your wallet, snacks. This one I love over here, probably the most, because I don't reach the passenger one as well. It's just such a smart thing. Like, to have a big empty dash that has all this space and whatever, like, make it useful, and Toyota did. It also has a charge pad down here. Perfect, plus a USB port. I also have a socket in the trunk, which I used. A good size armrest here that's got a decent size interior for storage. I have the 8-inch screen because I have the TRD off-road version. I have all my buttons on the steering wheel for controlling my gauge cluster here information, as well as radio, etc. And then down here, as I said while I was driving, I have the train response, which I can fiddle with to change up how my suspension and my throttle reacts. Lots of interior space, really comfortable seats. Again, I love how the back seats fold down and have the plastic cover over it, or the rubber mat, sorry. Oh, and I have the JBL sound system as well in the TRD, so a really nice sounding radio, deep quality sound, sunroof, all the bells and whistles. It's a very comfortable vehicle, and you know what? For the price, it should be. I really enjoyed our weekend with the RAV4 Trail TRD Offroad. I think it was the perfect companion for camping. And truthfully, I think it would be a really good companion for day-to-day life. I mean, this thing will handle winter, summer, fall, whatever you throw its way. Kids, groceries, trips to the mall, soccer games, all that stuff. It's a good vehicle. There's a reason the RAV4 is top of its segment, and it shows every time I've driven it. So if you guys have any questions, as always, hit me up at Miss Miranda L on Instagram or Twitter, and Miranda Lightstone at Facebook.com. I hope to see you guys next week. Thanks.